guys, it's me, Jody Ann, and we're here at the witching half hour or so. We'll probably go long today because I'm here with my girl, Nancy.
Hello!
And I'm just going to give a little bio and intro for her. So I met Nancy working with an amazing group of mediums that we work with, all spearheaded by our girl, Tara, who will be on the show, guys. Don't worry. And we do a thing there under the umbrella of Spirit Essence. So there's all things Spirit Essence, and we're a part of that. It's like a collective of psychics and healers and readers and mediums, and we teach and we host events and we do really awesome stuff. There will be links in the show notes as always. So that's where I met Nancy. And the first time we met, I came over to pick up tarot cards, I think.
Yes.
And we hit it off like just as if we've known each other forever. And I think if we sat down with someone who did soul work, we'd be like, oh, soul tree, oh, past life thing. Because the energy when we get together, Nancy's a great medium. She's a great reader. And at every event, she's so bubbly and wonderful. I love her storytelling.
Thank you.
I have her here to meet with me today. Did I miss anything? What else would you like to say about yourself?
No, that's amazing. Thank you so much. That was a fantastic intro. And I think you're right. I think it's like we've shared many, many lifetimes together because it does feel like we've known each other forever. And it just fell into a comfortable rhythm. Like it was it was really nice. So yes, thank you for having me. We are a part of an amazing group. And I'm excited to sit and have a little chin wag with you tonight and chat the chat.
Yeah. What's the name of your personal business that you read under and have clients with?
It's Nancy Christine Brady. So if you go to nancychristinebrady.com, that's my website.
Cool.
And you can learn all about me. Jody will have the links in the bottom.
I will. We'll put it in the show notes.
Yes. And thanks for having me. It's totally exciting to be here.
And I'm going to just pretend like I don't know you so well, but you're newer to doing this as a practitioner who makes a living at it, aren't you?
I am.
You've been doing readings and healings and stuff for a while.
Correct.
But to come out and say, this is something that I value, that's really important, that I would like some reciprocation world.
Yes.
So how is that for you?
It's amazing. I say coming out of the broom closet.
Yes. We can talk very witchy here because it is the witching half hour.
Woo! Or so. And I've been doing this, I guess, would you say professionally or out of the broom closet for about 4 or 5 years. I've been this way my whole life. Yeah. I was the kind of person that would come out at the age of 5 and announce to my very Roman Catholic mother that Uncle Fred had just passed away, and it terrified her. So suppressed a lot of that back in my teens, started getting interested in it again, and started studying and learning and absorbing everything I could in books and from mentors and friends. And I even lived with a beautiful white witch for a couple years and learned all that stuff too. So it was great learning all the different modalities and just expanding my knowledge, which was amazing. But you're right, the whole time I functioned in a muggle world, as we call it, for the Harry Potter fans out there. And I still do to some degree. Like my work right now, some people know what I do.
And you don't have to say that here.
Yes. And
you can protect your privacy.
It's all good. But
even though your full name is in your website. I don't know if you know that.
But most people at work don't Google you, I find. So my muggle job.
Fair.
Only a few people. I mean, I don't go to my way to hide it. But I certainly don't go out of my way to promote it. And that's because I've had a couple bad experiences when I was first coming out of the broom closet. And so now I tread a bit more cautiously, and I just sort of keep it that, and I just expand my community. And if my current bosses find out, great, and if they don't, that's fine too.
I find I drop almost like code words, and maybe our lovely little coven of listeners knows what this is about, where you'll say, oh, are you into spirituality? Or you'll say things like, well, you know, I really try to manifest what's important to me. And you'll see other like-minded people, their little feelers go up going like, ooh, those are my people. Hello.
Yes. Very much so. Very much so. In fact, I do that too, because you do put the little energy feelers out there. You put the actual verbal cues and you see who's sort of into it. And I even had one lady at work go, I see you. I Googled you. I know who you are. And I said, and what do you think about that? And she goes, it's amazing.
Isn't that beautiful?
Yes, because then you're walking alongside like-minded people that celebrate you.
Yes.
And you celebrate them.
Which leads me very beautifully into one of my next questions. Look at that. Let's talk about the catalyzing effect of living around like-minded people. So many of us, especially now that everyone is learning on YouTube and TikTok and through Reddit and through my podcast, maybe, all these different things. Because when you and I started, we had this one conversation one time about going down the back alley around the corner into the occult bookshop where there were strange people that you admired and loved. And you hoped that you would be invited to some of the rarer books.
Yes, yes.
And now you can just Google stuff.
Yeah.
Which is amazing because now we have this whole movement of like new age witches and new age spirituality and all these different modalities reawakening and coming back. However, hanging out with our peeps, I find for myself, and I'd love to know how you find it now that we're all in our little soul sister spirit essence group, I find it catalyzes my growth.
Yes.
When I am with like-minded people.
Yeah.
Even just if we are going to Costco together.
It's so true because it raises the energy vibration. I my son who's 23 plays a lot of video games, so I always call it leveling up. I'm just like, we're leveling up. And so, when you're around each other, you're supercharging the energy. And I find too, everybody's really good at pushing me out of my comfort zone. And I like to think that I'm helping them get out of their comfort zone with certain things they're doing. And so, but you're supporting and celebrating each other while you're doing that growth, while you're working and moving forward and leveling up, right?
That's why I like the idea whenever I teach and stuff, I don't like in my head, I think of it not as I am teaching. I think of it as I'm facilitating a circle.
Yeah.
Because within that shape of the circle, I'm learning from my students. My students are learning from me. There's this flow.
Yes.
Right? And it's kind of funny because I still think of it as a circle, even though lately everything has been in a Brady Bunch Square Zoom box. Because we both teach online.
Yep.
Right? And did you guys hear that? There's a dog sneezing in the background. Oh, I've got one. So how do you find balance between the two lives? Because you and I both walk in both worlds. We both still have a very muggle job that we do.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have our spiritual life. So what does that look like for you? What are some of the challenges that you find in balancing, or what are some of the ways that you get over those?
That's a great question. For me, I'm constantly striving to balance enough hours in the day.
Oh, right.
Yes. Because in my day job, I'm a sales and customer service manager, and there is always an expected to go past that 8 hours, right?
Yes.
I often work through my lunch. I often work overtime. And so that leaves sort of evenings and weekends to do what my passion is.
Right.
And surround myself around the soul sisters and do all that stuff, right? So it is a struggle. It's very much a struggle. I don't know, if I'd personally be ready to do what I do full time, because it is my passion. I enjoy my muggle job too, right? It pays the bills. Let's be honest. You got to pay the bills. So sometimes the passion has to wait, and you just find ways to weave it into your day. I like the way
you say that, to weave it into your day.
Yeah. Yeah. So like even tonight, right? Like we're sitting here, we're enjoying this. So not only are we accomplishing a beautiful podcast, I'm visiting with a great friend.
I know. That's what I love about this whole project. I'm like, when I started it, and I think this is episode 6.
Nice. So
I was like, oh, all these podcasts I love, they interview all these cool people. And I'm like, dude, I know so many cool people. This is going to be a way for me to hang out with all my cool people and just like be able to support them and lift them up and come together and also give my beautiful listeners some variety, right? And to get them to meet new people and have different aspects, because in the spiritual path, I mean, I've been doing it a long time, but I am by no means not learning.
Yeah.
Right? Like, there's that thing, when you, like, when you think you know everything, you're clearly not learning, but there's a backwards way of saying it. I'm going to cut all this babble out.
I know what you're saying. Yeah. And it's
the humility of the teacher learning from their students. Like, I learn more when I'm teaching. I'm open so much to learning from my students and from the people who come to my life as students.
very much so. And I find that too. I mean, you can learn from a newborn baby as much as you can learn from my
Yes.
99-year-old grandmother.
Right?
At the day we stop learning, I mean, you might as well dig a hole for me.
Yeah.
But
right?
I want to be planted as a tree.
Do you? So does my daughter.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool.
I tell her she has to keep me on her mantle, and I'm going to haunt her if she doesn't, and she hates that. I'm like, I would like to come out every Christmas. I want a spirit plate for me. I want to be on the mantle. I want to be actually at the table. I want a place there. She's like, you're so weird.
But they love us and they celebrate us.
Yes. So around the balance, what practices do you have to help you with those energetic boundaries out in the muggle world?
Right, that's a fantastic question. Well, as much as I say to my students and to the people I do a little bit of coaching with, I'd like to say I'm that person who does this all the time. But let's be honest, when you're in the muggle job, you forget to do that a lot.
You do.
But I do try to regularly check in and do grounding throughout the day, realign all my chakras, surround myself with white bubble of light, really about energetic boundaries, because I'm very much a physical empath, so I tend to be a sponge to a lot of people. So as especially working in a sales and customer service capacity, I find people drawn to you and then they really overshare because
Yes.
it's that when you're a psychic or an empath or a medium, you're that beacon of light, like the moths are attracted
They do. They
right?
do.
And
yes.
so
and good moths, like not bad moths. I think it's often, for me, it's other sensitive people.
Exactly.
Who just are new on their path, or they don't really realize.
Yeah.
They recognize a like person, and so
they're attracted to that energy.
Mm-hmm.
But then a lot of times you have to just put yourself back in check, reground yourself, clean your energy. It's all about that sort of energetic hygiene. In a good way, right?
Did you used to do that thing where people would come to you and you would take on all their stuff? I used to do that.
Oh, yeah.
I would be like, people would unload on me and I would take on their energy. I'd take on their ancestors. I would let their grandmothers interrupt my sleep.
Yeah.
Like all that kind of stuff when I was a new baby pagan. And it took me years.
Yes.
And what's interesting, oh wow, this is neat. This just came up talking to you, my love, is I found that I had good energetic and spiritual boundaries, and that catalyzed needing better boundaries in my real human life.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. And I find they often align like that.
Isn't it neat?
So, yeah, I love that. I love that you brought that up, because often what our spiritual lessons are definitely align with our human lessons. And so it's those times where you go, oh, and you have these little epiphanies, and then you realize, okay, I've got good boundaries here, but I need to strengthen it here. Or, oh, maybe I need to actually let that boundary down a bit.
Yeah.
And open up, because that for me, now that you're right, like when I started out, it was the same way. I was just a sponge for everything, and then I got to the point where I was like, oh, shut off from everything, and now I'm like, okay, let's somewhere in the middle. There's got to be somewhere in the middle. And so
it's that gray area. Hey, like I often think about when do you remember that thing in the 80s, those 5 little balls that hang down in that little tripod, and you pull one and the other one comes out? There's like this action, reaction, and it takes a while and then it stops.
Yes.
Right? It's almost like we're always going back and forth and playing with those two extremes.
Yeah, definitely.
And then you start getting your stuff together and you get your ducks in a row, and then suddenly you're doing deeper work.
Yes.
And you're still fluxing between those two polars, but the outside of your life isn't affected as much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when I was newer, just in life in general, not just as a pagan, but as a younger person. In my 20s, I found that when things were out of balance, oh, you could tell.
Yeah.
Right? But now when I'm out of balance, I'll feel it more internally, and it doesn't change how my house runs. It doesn't change my sleeping patterns too much.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm still a functioning person who can go to work and do all that stuff, even though there's big emotional unpacking going on.
Right.
I don't know if that's because I'm spiritual or if it's just because I'm more mature now.
I think it's probably a bit of both.
Yeah.
Because I very much find that my journey as well. Like, I literally have a thing on my monitor saying, it's not personal. Do not take it personal.
Right.
To remind myself when customers are upset, it's not about me.
Yeah.
But as I look back through my life, that's always been part of my working through that need for acceptance, that need for, that unconditional love, all the stuff we all work through.
Mm-hmm.
But each lesson has changed and either morphed or intensified or detensified depending on how I've learned it and how I've adapted to it. So yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Deep stuff here.
Deep stuff. Oh my gosh.
Because it's the alchemy of the soul. That's
Yes.
what I really think. When you start getting into these new age and on your metaphysical journey and in the pathway of your life, when you're living in your life path and you're doing that stuff, it really does feel like alchemy of the soul.
Very much
Becoming your best, highest, and best self.
Yeah.
Not perfect.
No.
But just the most authentic vibration of yourself, the most expression, the most authentic Can I talk? No. The most authentic expression of yourself.
Yes, absolutely.
What do you do in your work? Because I know you do readings, you do coaching.
Yes.
Tell me about coaching. What's your favorite thing to coach people on?
My favorite thing to coach people on, and I always said I would do this because I'm all about paying it forward.
Mm-hmm.
I want to offer to people an easier journey than I went on.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, so when I started, there was basically a couple authors. You really had to deep dive to find stuff. I couldn't afford spending like $2,000 on a mentor,
Right.
coaching and
Yes.
or going to Arthur Finley or any of that stuff. I couldn't, and for whatever reason, I felt I needed that acceptance by a teacher to make it valid.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Because we're born with this stuff.
Exactly.
And we know we're born with it, and we see it in our lives, and I have felt that as well because, I mean, other than the covens I was in the 90s, right? Yeah. And then I have shamanic teaching, but I don't have, like...
I remember when I first, I called my niece, who's also a medium, and I'm like, I got accepted. I got a scholarship. I had to record a video.
Wow.
And you record the video why you should get this scholarship. And I submitted it to this big famous television medium. And I looked at my husband. I said, I'm going to get that scholarship because I can't afford to spend $2,500 to become a medium.
Yes.
So I was the third person drawn out of 500 people. She gave 10 scholarships away.
Oh my God. Manifesting.
I manifested
sister.
it.
Look at that.
It was so good. And I remember calling my niece and saying, oh my God, I got a scholarship. I'm going to be a medium. And I was so giddy and I was excited. And there was dead silence. And I'm like, what, aren't you as excited as I am? She goes, you are a medium.
Right.
But I went, well, yeah, but then I get a piece of paper. And she was like, what have you taught me through the years? And what good is a piece of paper? And I just thought, oh my gosh, this is crazy. Like, for everything that we had talked about through the years, she's spitting it back to me now.
Yes.
And I thought, you know what? I'm going to do that for people. I'm going to make sure that they can have affordable mentoring from a legitimate, authentic, heartfelt place. And that it's always going to be available to even those that can't necessarily afford it. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've done workshops and stuff at no charge just because I want people to have access to that same information. I think it's so important to tune into our internal GPS. I think it's important, you don't have to do like you do or I do, but just use your intuition, right? Tap into that. It's our glorious God-given, birth-written, all sorts of right that we have, whatever it is, divine that you worship. It comes genetically and biologically to us. And so I do a lot of beginner stuff. I do a lot of introduction to psychic. I do a lot of introduction to mediumship, because I really want people to have that foundation where I can set them up. My motto is take what you can, leave the rest. And that I'm just a drop on your journey. You're going to meet many more mentors. But if I can get you started on the right foot, so be it.
I think I'm going to say one thing to you, because I love you, that I think you underestimate the drop of the bucket, because I think it's more I would say you give people the opportunity to look out on a vista.
Yeah.
Right? You can get them up to a place where they can look out on a vista. Now, if they want to continue up the mountain, if they want to go to another mountain, if they decide they're kayaking instead, all the power to them.
I like that. Yeah.
But you give them a vista.
Okay, I'm going to take your vista and I'm going to own that.
Please, because I'm so covered in goosebumps. That's not my wisdom. We know that's channel. That's not my wisdom.
Well, thank you, channel. Thank you, spirit. I appreciate that.
I really like... For me, it's always been about reciprocation. One of the things, like you, because I often don't charge when people have something happening with their children, right?
Yeah.
And I will reduce my fees hugely. So it started. Okay, you guys, I'm gonna just be quiet and see if you guys can hear what's happening on the roof.
You can definitely hear the rain.
So we are in the Lower Mainland, as you guys know, and we are recording this a bit before it comes out. And we have an atmospheric river that is happening and flooding our world. We live in a rainforest, and that was very bad English. We live in a rainforest, and the amount of rain that has fallen in Vancouver this winter is astounding. It's December 1st when we're recording this.
Yes,
this is the
1st.
third of an atmospheric river that has come through the Lower Mainland. And we can hear it on Nancy's skylight.
Very much so.
So, yeah, wow. That's pretty cool.
Just let it relax you and take you to a tranquil place.
Oh, I can edit it out.
Aha.
Yeah, I can remove background noise.
There we go.
Yeah. We were talking about the vista, the journey.
And then you said, I get that because of mine.
Oh, right. I don't charge children. And I think the practice started because when I started reading professionally in the Lower Mainland and charging for what I do, my daughter was 12 or 13. Her friends would want a reading. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to charge a baby, right? And I have kept that all along. So, and friends of mine, other moms who I knew when I was teaching Reiki and doing Reiki and stuff, I would charge the mother. And if she wanted to bring her teenager, I did not even charge to initiate them, like to give them their first attunement of Reiki. Because I thought if anyone could use this, it is teenagers.
Totally.
Right? To just open that channel a little bit more and to give themselves self-treatments.
Yeah.
Right? To align their own chakras, all that stuff. So that's always been my personal policy.
I love it.
I used to always set like anyone's always age or younger, right? But now she's a grown up, so
you're gonna have to lower it to your son's age now.
Yeah, now it has to be. I'll go by the kid's age.
Yeah.
If you are young enough to hang out with my children and it's not weird, then I don't have to charge you for services.
There you go.
If you need mentoring and help and you need some mama goddess guidance, it's fine.
Very cool. I've done a lot of work with animal rescue.
That's right.
And so a lot of times when I do animal communication, I'll do it for free for rescue groups so that they can quickly rehabilitate the animal to find out where some of the little suitcase of baggage is, help them unpack it, and then find the right home where they have to get adopted to. So that's one of the pay it forwards that I do as well.
That's a beautiful pay it forward.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful because animals give us back so much.
So much.
Like animals give to us and just unconditionally. I've learned so much from animals and so to give back to even if it's not the animal who helped you, but to give back to the animal collective.
Yes.
Right?
Exactly. The first time, I don't know if I ever told you, the first time when I actually learned that I could communicate with animals.
Please tell me.
Okay. So this is really the overall message and takeaway here is trust.
Okay.
When you're first doing this work and you're wondering, is this my imagination or is this something that's actually happening? You have to trust. You've got to trust what's happening.
You do. And you feel a little crazy in the beginning. I remembered going like, either this is happening or I'm schizophrenic.
Exactly.
Like, whoa.
So this is a perfect example of schizophrenic. So I was working the worst job. I hated this job. I would go from grocery store to grocery store and I would take I'd go and I'd look at the shelves and see what they had to order. And then I'd put the order in. And I went to, we have farmers markets out here in BC. So this was one of those outdoor farmer markets where the garage doors go up and the apple stands get pushed out. And then inside is the grocery store and the organics and stuff like that. Very, very cool place. And all around this sort of country market was ditches. And so there's the ditch and then the road, right? Because we have a lot of water and sit on a lot of bog out here. Mm-hmm. So...
temperate rainforest, people.
Yes, temperate rainforest. So one of those ditches was getting worked on by construction workers. I preface this because this is where the story's going. So I go in there first thing in the morning. They throw the doors open and I'm taking my order, marking down the barbecue sauce that needs to be ordered. And nobody in the store except me. I'm the first person in there. And all the workers are in the back grabbing stuff to put to the shelves. Okay? So... feverishly working away here and I hear, hey there. And I thought, oh, one of the workers has come out from the back. I don't look up. I don't want to lose my count of the barbecue sauce, right? And I say, hey, how's it going? And I hear, pretty good, but can you help a guy out? And I said, oh, absolutely. So I stop counting and I look around and it's just me standing there. And I look around and I look around. Huh. I must be hearing things. I'm hearing voices. That's just in my head. What is happening? Yeah. Go back to counting barbecue sauce. Down here. Hey. And I look down and there's a little salamander standing on the ground and he's got little dust bunnies stuck on his little 4 feet. And I went, oh my God, is that you talking to me? And he said, yeah. Can you help a guy out or what? And I went, well, of course I can. I said, looks like you got yourself stuck in some dust. Yeah. So I put my hand down and he climbed up into my hand.
Oh my God, this is amazing.
I pulled the dust bunnies off his feet and I was looking at him and I'm thinking, okay, I'm not nuts. He actually climbed into my hand. And I went, well, I really feel like you should be out in the ditch in the water. He goes, yeah, I already asked. Can you help a guy out? And I was like, of course I can. Oh. So I went to go back out the door just at the same time as this older lady with quite blue hair. So walked in and went, oh my God, what do you have in your hand? And I looked at her. I said, well, it's just a salamander. And she just, And I walked past her thinking, huh. He says, what's her problem? And I said, right? So we walked over to where the grass was and I put my hand down. I said, water's that way. And I pointed to where the ditch was. And he turned around and crawled off my hand and said, thanks. I said, no problem, buddy. Have a good day. And I thought, you can't make that up.
You cannot make that up. That is amazing.
That was pretty cool.
And I love that it's a catalyst for you because salamanders are fire element. They're all about transformation. And it sounds like that is a transformative moment in your life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So there was
The layers of amazing synchronicity in that story, mind-blowing, goosebump making. That is so, thank you for sharing that with us. That is
yeah.
so cool.
Yeah, but trust it,
Yes.
right? I mean, if anybody else had like open up to the possibilities that you absolutely are hearing those messages, you're seeing those signs, you're seeing those symbols.
And it's because your monkey mind, as I call it, our very human aspect of our mind, was busy doing a task
Yep.
that you just responded as if it was a regular person
Yes.
instead of a salamander person.
Yeah. And I didn't filter it out, and I just, all right. So I'm feeling a little bit like Snow White, I'm not gonna lie.
Please make them come and clean my house. That's my biggest disappointment about Disney. Where are the birds coming in and helping with my laundry? I sing. I have a guitar. I'm on my back porch. Sometimes my dog doesn't even listen, let alone help me.
Mine runs the other way when the singing happens.
Oh, that's so good though, but trust. It takes a long time to build up that trust in yourself,
Mm-hmm.
in your own instincts. And I think it's interesting because, like you were saying earlier, we all have this.
Mm-hmm.
Not everyone is going to sit across the table from someone and channel their dearly departed or talk to their spirit guides or bring down an angel to help heal someone. However, we all have the ability to connect,
Yes.
to tune in. I always think about our abilities and how innate they are. It's like music, right?
Yes.
You can take any child in the world and you can put them in front of a piano and take them to lessons every day. They will learn the piano.
Mm-hmm.
They will practice. They will learn the piano. And every now and then, there is a kid that sits down at a piano somewhere that they stumble across, and they teach themselves piano because they just kind of always knew and had a knack for it.
Yes.
And I feel like that's the only difference between those of us who are here with a mission and a purpose to teach, and where our life path is tied into our abilities in the spiritual realm. That's the only difference.
Yes.
Right? I came here already good at it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I cannot catch a ball. There are people who make zillions of dollars catching a ball. Right? They're called elite athletes. I don't have that. I wasn't born with that. I was born with this.
Yes.
This is the gift I have. However, you could get me a coach. I could get better at catching a ball.
Yeah.
So any of you out there, if you feel that pull, like this just calls to you, you feel like this is the right thing for you, you can do this.
Yes.
You can do your spiritual development. You can come out of your broom closet. You can walk your little crooked spiritual path along your way, stumbling with your like-minded people.
Absolutely. And I want to add to that, Jody, you're never too old.
Oh
to
my
do
God,
this.
right?
Yes. Like,
yes.
I have people that I mentor that are in their 60s and 70s, and I have people that are just fresh 20s, right?
Yeah.
You're never too old. Embrace it. Just whatever it is that you're passionate about, go at it with open arms and just be open to the opportunity just to learn something new.
Mm-hmm.
And tap into that divine guidance. Because for me, it's really about why would we not use our GPS system? It's built in us biologically.
Yes.
Life is not meant to be hard. It's meant to be easy. Just tap into it and learn more about it. Never stop learning. Never stop learning.
Oh, no.
You know, it's one of our greatest gifts
Mm-hmm.
to have this beautiful big mind that we use 10% of.
Another reason I started this is that I'm finding as I go through and do the tarot segments, it's reminding me of things. It's reteaching me things. I'm learning things as I put together these podcasts. And like, because I'm bored of all the stuff I've already learned.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right? Like, I don't want to pick up a Tarot 101 book because
Been there,
I've read a
done that.
lot of Tarot 101 books.
You've been there, done that, bought the t-shirt.
Yeah, but looking at it from the perspective I do on the podcast, I'm learning so much. and thinking about things in a different, from a different lens than I have in a while.
Yeah. And sometimes it's nice to go back to those basics and realize, hey, I missed that the first time around.
Yes.
Or, hey, I have a new perspective on that.
I think that's what it is. And I think too, it's also that as we continue to learn and develop and open up, and I guess hone our skills, I don't know if it's like, I feel like the work just gets more intricate.
Yes.
Not more difficult. It just gets more intricate.
That's a great way to put it.
And more layered. And I notice more layers to things now in life. And I watch it like when I have, whether I'm doing stuff for myself or whether I'm looking at things for clients or for friends and family members, I find I see layers and things that have always been there, but I didn't quite have the fine tuning to pick it up, right? Like I'll look back and unpack things in my healing work from like maybe 10 years ago or 15 years ago, and I'll see a new layer in what I was doing and learning that relates to one of my lessons currently.
Absolutely.
And I'll be like, oh, there it was there. There
Yes.
it was there. There it was there. But now that I'm open to that, I'm seeing that layer go through things.
Yeah. And it's easier to even sort of resolve some of that unresolved layers
Yes.
that keep popping up.
Mm-hmm.
Because suddenly, I find they keep popping up because you need to either address them or there's still some lessons you still have to learn about them.
Mm-hmm.
And it just depends on the how deep that layer goes.
Like the onion.
The onion, yes.
The onion layer.
The onion layers.
This is good stuff.
That is good stuff.
We've covered lots. We've covered living out of the broom closet. We've covered balance. We've covered boundaries, all kinds of aspects of healing.
Mm-hmm.
We've covered bits of coaching. We've got lots in here.
Yeah, even animal stuff.
Yes.
And trust and education, all sorts of goodies.
Yeah. This is a great gab session.
It was.
Do we want to talk about anything else?
I don't know. Do you? Do we? Do
I
I?
don't know. Well, my beautiful sister friend, thank you for coming on my podcast and sharing so openly and beautifully with me and everyone in my little earbud coven.
Thank you so much, Jody, for having me. It's been an honor, and as always, it's just so great to visit with you and have a chat.
I know we'll have to. I was thinking another time we could do a whole thing on tarot for the oracle.
Yeah, that'd be a blast.
We should do that because I know I'm having you back.
Okay, yeah, I welcome it. Thank you.
Okay, well, yeah, thanks so much.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. I'll do it again because that's giggling.
And the dog was like
Sniffing the microphone again. We'll get your sniffing sounds.
Oh, shh. Recording. You're not helping. Okay, where did we leave off?
I don't know.
I literally was trying to not laugh so hard because she's laying on her back like this and she's doing this with her one foot to try to get your attention. Look at me!
Oh my God, she's so cute.